In the pantheon of video games, there are many characters whose stories must be told, and among these, few are as underrated and misunderstood as Turok. Welcome to Saberduelgaming, and welcome to the story of Turok in Turok Dinosaur Hunter. Born Tal Set in 1840, Turok was actually a title passed on through his family through the generations. The Turok's task is to be a time-travelling warrior, set to protect the barrier between Earth and the Lost Land, a realm where time has no meaning. But now this barrier is threatened as an evil tyrant known as the Campaigner seeks to unite the pieces of an ancient weapon called the Chronoscepter and use it to destroy this barrier, setting both the Lost Land and Earth into peril. Aware of the risk to all of time and reality, Turok travels through to the Lost Land to face the Campaigner, but first he must traverse the Lost Land itself. Initially armed only with his trusty bow and arrow and blade, Turok is heavily outmatched and will need to find new weapons to compete with the Campaigner's soldiers and the resident tribes and dinosaurs living within the Lost Land. However, the Campaigner's drive for conquest and reach soon becomes his undoing. Sourcing weapons from all of history, he gives these to his troops, leaving them in caches around the Lost Land, which Turok is soon able to repurpose, making him heavily armed and more than a match for the Campaigner's army. Determined to stop at nothing to free both worlds, Turok ventures deeper into the Lost Land, coming across tribes that are working with the Campaigner to establish dominance in their homeland. Turok makes short work of these traitors, but soon he comes across a threat that even he will struggle to compete with. The dinosaurs, a species long since forgotten in his own world, remain strong and dominant within the Lost Land. However, these once majestic and beautiful creatures have been transformed into massive cybernetic weapons of war by the Campaigner, with Turok having to overcome the monsters that they have become. The deeper Turok travels into the lair of the Campaigner, his desire to overcome this monster is driven by what he has done to the native people and animals of the Lost Land, with Turok's overriding respect for life being turned against him having to overcome creatures that normally he would be protecting. As Turok's journey continues, he begins to realise that even the mighty weapons he has been able to gather and his seasoned combat experience may prove no match for the Campaigner. However, his journey does source him something that may be able to compete. As he travels around the Lost Land, the very pieces of the Chronoscepter which the Campaigner has been looking for instead find Turok. Turok is able to piece together the weapon as he overcomes battle after battle, finally coming into possession of the one thing the Campaigner wants most, and may be the Campaigner's biggest threat. Armed now with the Chronoscepter, Turok ventures deep into a temple that masks instead a terrifying ship and faces the Campaigner himself. Turok unleashes all of the weapons he's been able to source, desperate to not have to resort to using the Chronoscepter. But no matter what he unleashes, the Campaigner continues to fight back with a ferocity that even Turok finds impressive. Eventually, it is the Chronoscepter itself that dispenses of the Campaigner, setting into effect a chain reaction that sets to destroy the Campaigner's ship and craft and poses a final threat to Turok's own life. As the Campaigner explodes and the ship begins to do the same, Turok flees the scene, desperate to return home to his children, family, and world. With the flames bursting at his back as he runs through the corridor, he begins to wonder, could this be the end? Will his children now take the mantle of Turok? But with one final leap, Turok survives and is free to return home to his family.